Najua vile umecheki Sonko made Faye president, uko very interested na hii story. Unashindwa Sonko wa Kenya iliendaje? But zizi kuna Sonko fulani wa Senegal anaitwa Ousmane Sonko. Ousmane Sonko ni mse alirun for president in Senegal back in the year 2019 and alienda up akimaliza third na alipataga 16%, but ni msemi young na anajulikana for being very radical. So huo Sonko of course ni very different from Sonko wetu, because huu Sonko wa Senegal pia like if you come to his academic credentials, everything, like his wealth, you can explain every step of the way. He's never resurrected. Naweza sema tukiamua kucompare Ousmane Sonko na Mike Sonko I expect to be richer, and he's richer than Ousmane. Na sasa he come to the only time tunaweza maybe wa compare ni intellectually, na tukiwa compare intellectually naweza sema Mike Sonko ana represent the Kenyan train, najua, alafu Ousmane Sonko ana represent the Senegalese train. Now you can make your decision on who is who. So Ousmane Sonko kwa wase wengi sana walikuwa najua he was to be the youngest president wa Senegal, but that didn't happen because kitu interesting na Senegal imekuwa ikigo through like a lot of protests, and that happened like in the past year, and in the process they have president wao alikuwa anaitwa Macky Sall akaamua kumazzle the opposition, so he ended up jailing Ousmane Sonko. Alafu after kujail Ousmane Sonko baadaye akakama ka jail Bassirou Faye, the one who ends up being president. Na kwa historia ya Ousmane Sonko I think we mentioned it kitambo kabisa, tulimention igina na DJ Zack, and the story was how the opposition is fought all over the world. So and the example we gave were two, ilikuwa Ousmane Sonko na pia if I'm not wrong another opposition leader in Rwanda, where you're given a rape case. We're trying to imagine, we're trying to fight your democracy alafu the next thing una do you're fighting a rape case. And that's one of the things that I say is beautiful about Kenya. Like Kenya has its limitations, Kenya has its bullshit, but at least tumepita hizo level. So Kenya lazima tuipatie credit on a few things, but sasa tutaongea juu ya Kenya baadaye. So kuna vile say ukitaka kujua vile some democracies ashame Kenya, when you think about Kenyan elections and you think about how much time we use campaigning, we'll campaign for like over 2 years. We just get into election mode that is. Na sijui kwa umekuwa ukifuatilia story ya Bassirou Faye, but do you know that Bassirou Faye campaigned for less than 10 days and ended up being the president of Senegal? And not just the president of Senegal, but he ended up being the youngest president wa Senegal. And hii story ni after Ousmane Sonko arrestiwe na apatiwe the rape charge na other bullshit charges zile zilikuwa hapo, Bassirou Faye pia alikujiwa, na Bassirou Faye alikuwa arrested last year, ilikuwa in April, and akaend up aliarrestiwa for spreading fake news, undermining state security, and this was April 14th 2023, so close to a year alikuwa jela. And then president wa Senegal anaitwa Macky Sall, another thing that he tried to do was earlier this year he tried to push the elections to December, because usisahau by the time election tuko inafaa kuhappen I think Feb, I think I pushiwa too much if I'm not wrong, I might be wrong about that, but election will happen in March but by the time hii mwaka ilikuwa inaanza, both Bassirou Faye na Ousmane Sonko walikuwa jela, acheki. Alafu kulikuwa na mse mwingine ule the president wanted to win, and you find that this guy kitu kwa ina happen ni so now there has to be an opposition. They can't just be this whatever. So in the process this guy tried to postpone the election to December, and at least we'll get a lot of other useless candidates to run, but that didn't happen. The constitutional court, I think yao inaitwa hivyo, ikaenda imesema lazima elections happen, and then in the process Macky Sall kuonyesha that he's being fair, like I think it was on March 14th he ended up releasing Ousmane Sonko na Bassirou Faye. And what happened is in 10 days these guys just campaigned, and the people showed up. And this shows you the power of the youth, because this president is 44 years old. He's been elected mostly by the youth. And if you go kwa internet, see, understand French, but the few clips that I've seen, one thing that stands out is I don't think tribe is a factor in Senegal. Because tribe, if you were to ask me what has kept Kenyan politics this useless, is because of tribe. And this is the reason why I feel like some African countries, if they were to get the right leaders, they'd go much further than Kenya. Angalia country kama TZ, for the very short time that umse alikuwa president anaitwa nani, Magufuli, he did a lot of good. The only thing I hate about it is pia alikuwa anafanya ma opponents wana disappear, but without that, like ingekuwa tu ni mse amekubali wacha wase waongee but mi nifanye kazi, he'd have achieved so much because he does not have that like tribal burden kwa mgongo yake. Like ukiangalia Senegal politics, the reason why they can get such young leaders is because of that. Like, of course, this is their youngest leader ever, but it's because of that. The fact that tribe is not a factor. But if you look at Kenya, where tribe is a factor, there'll always be zero accountability because politicians know the love is unconditional. Najua, because with tribe comes unconditional love. Inakuwaga hata ufanye vibaya bado wewe ni mmoja wetu. But now you have countries like that. So TZ naweza sema like if it continues at that trajectory, one day TZ itakuja kutupita. Na itakuja kutupita not because of anything, but the day that Tanzania gets democracy, like real democracy, where Tanzanians can speak kama sisi, like they can have freedom of expression, I feel like Tanzania itatupita, and the reason itatupita ni they won't be a tribe to sell. You'll be elected solely on your ideology. Right now it's hard for that to happen because of course CCM wako pale, CCM hutumiaga guns to stay in power, CCM whatever, but try to imagine a situation where wameachia wase wanaweza ji-express. TZ, the online space is more active than the Kenyan space. Of course pia si tunawawatch, TZ would just beat us hands down. But hapo nimedigress. Tukigo back to history ya kina Basiru, that try to imagine like in 10 days these people campaign and in 10 days they win an election. And another interesting thing that I learned about this was how fast the election results were known. And this comes back to tuongea juu ya Kenya. So hii election ilikuwa done on Sunday, and by Monday we knew who'd won. So niko sure as someone who supports Kenya and has blind patriotism, utasema zizi Kenya has more registered voters. Let's look at the numbers. Okay, so 7.9 million people voted, were registered voters, and the turnout was 71%. So let's take it to 5 million. Then tuangalie Kenya. Kenya turnout ilikuwa around 14 million. Yes? So the election happens on Sunday. By Monday, they know the result. So Kenya has 3 times the Nini. Let's say counting works that way, that you count depending on. So Kenya inafaa kuwa by Wednesday tushajua who the winner is. But what's the reason why Kenya tujuagi the winner by Wednesday? This because of incompetence and corruption and manipulation and all this bullshit. And it still goes back to the tribe factor, where people don't care that elections are done in a very transparent manner. We only care if we win or we lose. So, but hiyo kitu nilifind interesting sana, the fact that these elections, first of all, like in one day they knew the results. The president and the rest tried to push it wakisema zile no hakuna haja premature celebrations, but I think the margin was so big that they knew that any attempt ya ku change the results would have been disastrous, number one. Alafu number two, the youth were united, not along tribe, not along what, but along the fact that they believe in Basiru Faye. And one thing I can say about Basiru Faye is I don't know how his friendship and Usman Sonko is going to be, because don't forget Usman Sonko should have been the president, but Usman Sonko aliend up akistopishwa jei rape case yake, so he was found ineligible to run for president. Honor, in such a country they can actually find someone ineligible to run for president. Kenya ushaisikiaga hiyo? No. Kenya, like, you can run. The first person of course uliambwezi run for kitu ilikuwa Usonko yetu but oh shit, inamaanisha jina Sonko inaweza kustop from running for an election. But sasa inafanya nafikiria if Usman, because Usman was the one who was more popular than Basiru, then Basiru ends up akiget hii support ya Usman and afaka inherit hiyo nini. Saizi kuna vile Basiru anasema anaenda ku reintroduce the vice president position because that one will also been removed. So is Usman going to be the vice president? And if Usman is vice president, is he going, is the friendship going to still be the way it was? But more than that, I'd want to see what a young leader who's not coming with the burden of corruption, because like history yake, he's not a rich man as rich as the Kenyan politicians. He's someone will anakuja na kutry to get like inaitwa nini, France off the neck of Senegal. So is he going to succeed? Because when I looked at how people were happy with him, I remembered vile tulikuwa happy na Kibaki. And remember, and Kibaki was able to achieve a lot. Kibaki also did a lot of bad things because wase utakaga kumsanitize. Every person has the positive and the negative. I always give the example ya Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln alimaliza slavery, but still his main reason behind that was he wanted to ship black people back to Africa. So he's not as clean as people would want to be. Kibaki, on one hand, is the one who showed us that democracy can work, and he's also the same person who showed us that democracy can't work. Go figure. So tukigo back to history ya Senegal, like Senegal, a lot of things have been working. Yeah, you can see like their SGR in quotes is better than ours. It might be short distance, but it's better than ours. And so now, with these leaders that they were saying were very old school, what's going to happen with very new school leaders who actually want the betterment of their people, not people who are just trying to be rich. Unachikigi Kenya majuzi kulikuwa na somebody in Mandera saying that ukiiba 30%, wacha 70% ifanye kazi. 30%. If you're talking about 10 billion, that's 3 billion you want to steal. You see, like, it's ridiculous. So as wanakam wakisema they're going to fight corruption, and apart from fighting corruption, they want to come up with their own currency. Watoke from history ya CFA, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in that country. But this election ya Senegal imenionyesha how Kenyans, we are full of ourselves, that we always think we are superior to other countries, tunadharaugi countries zingine zote, and then unaziangalia unasema, this is interesting. There's a country where the youth can just unite and say enough is enough. And the election is won on ideology. It's not won on religion. It's not won on si uchawi ni maombi, all this other nonsense zile tunakamigi up nazo zile have nothing to do with the cost of living. Like, when you think about Kenyan politics, you'll think about two: si uchawi ni maombi na tialala na whatever. You understand? Like, it's ni ujinga, and ujinga iko protected na tribalism. So as long as you're in the right tribe, ama you're in my tribe, I'll take your bullshit. I'll take your tialala, ama I'll take your si uchawi ni maombi. Now you have a president who I'm 100% sure would never send his police to Haiti, because anajua it's all about your people. It's not about the money you can make from foreign countries. It's about creating wealth back home. So history ya nini nimefind ikiwa interesting sana, nikicompare, like, even if I was to go back to Iji na Sonko, if I was to compare Senegal's politics to Kenyan politics, ikikam to intellectual whatever, itakuwa hiyo the same. Itakuwa back to Mike Sonko and Usman Sonko. And let's see what happens. Good luck to Senegal. It was a beautiful thing to see that. But now, another thing ile najiuliza ni Macky Sall. What's going through Macky Sall's mind? Macky Sall is the incumbent president, the one who's supposed to step down on 2nd of April. So do you still wait till 2nd of April? Do you still stay in the country? You jail these people for over 1 year. Are they going to want revenge? Because, by jailing them, you acted beyond your powers. So this guy comes from jail. 10 days later, he's the president-elect. Do you know how much time he's, like, 1 whole year in jail? Umse, of course, ana hasira ingine. So what is he going to do? Is Basiru going to tell Macky Sall Pole. Is Basiru going to tell Macky Sall that it's time to pay up? What is he going to do about that? And this also shows you, like, African presidents never learn. You can't be there doing everything like you're a remote or you are. No, you're just a president, and you're a president because these other people around you have allowed you to be president. And there is a law, and the law inaonyesha uko na term limits. So as you do all this bullshit of yours, know that one day you want to be president. So Macky Sall, I think when he released these guys 10 days to the elections, he never thought there was a way in hell that they'd win. But they didn't only win, they won resoundingly. So now what's going to happen to him? Are they going to... Because in your time, anafaa kuuliza Puff Daddy, unatumia ile jet yako, P. Diddy. Unatumia jet yako. Hata nitumia jina P. Diddy kuna samjuagi kama Puff Daddy. Alafu afikiria kuhepa hiyo inchi. But may find Senegal to be a very interesting country. I'm going to watch and see what Basiru does. Basiru Diomaye Faye. I want to see what he does. I want to see if kama friendship yake na Usman itakuwa tested. Because if the two of them stay united for the next, I don't know, I think elections za Senegal zinakuwaga every 5 years. Let me see. So if they stay together, and I feel like Senegal is going to be a different country. So itakuwa very interesting, because sisi on the other side, of course, expect nonsense, expect stories of prayers and all that bullshit ile tunafanyaga and then we are proud of. And yeah, it's happening every 5 years, because the last elections were 2019. So if these two guys stay together for the next 10 years, I see good things for Senegal. Ajua. Like I feel, because anywhere you go through their stuff, hautaona kitu kaa kutakuwa na national prayers and bullshit. It's just going to be work, let's work, let's work, let's work. And that's how we'll be able to take like African countries to the next level. And it's going to take maybe one country, African country, to actually get it right for the rest to start seeing. Kenya, I think we are going to lag behind. We've reached ile ni kama ni plateau. Tumefika a certain level where the only thing keeping us up is the education level yetu. Like the only reason we are doing better than TZ, for example, is education level yetu. Like the fact that we learn stuff in English, it opens up the world to us. Msewa TZ anaanza kulearn English by the time yuko 14. That's later in life, and English ndio inasaidia in this grand scheme of things, because it's not like our education system ni level ya Japan where you can just learn in any language. So I feel like Kenya tumefika ile level ya tribalism, imetufikisha hii level, and sisi kupita hapo itakuwa hard. Why? Because tribalism comes with corruption. You know, those two things are intertwined, and this corruption is so intertwined. That's why we have corruption at national level. Yes, we have corruption at county level, because counties are all one tribe and they are all corrupt. Show me one county in Kenya that's not corrupt. They are all corrupt. Why? Because now tukiwa in our tribal cocoons, we are comfortable and we are like, since watu wangu wananipenda just because of tribe, I don't have to deliver, they love me because of. So I feel like Kenya tushafika hiyo level. Na hiyo time ukiangalia countries kaki na Senegal, they are looking at it in a different way. Najua, then it's about ideology, it's about what. So how long till they reach that next level? How long till TZ? Because TZ, as soon as TZ imefikisha freedom of expression Kenya, TZ itatupita. Why? Because TZ is also starting to teach in English. Wanaanza sasa kufundisha in English earlier. So hata you are the next generation they are going to be. So by the time wanafika hapo, sisi tukiprotect someone who's corrupt because of tribe, TZ won't have that hurdle, because there's no tribalism in Tanzania. So I feel like as Muslim religion a lot hapa Kenya, like religion has done a lot of damage, not just in Kenya but the whole world, Africa especially. But I feel like for Kenya, it's both religion and tribalism. And tribalism comes with corruption, and it comes with a certain level of comfort that leaders know, I don't have to deliver, I'll get the votes. So naweza kupatia an example. President Ruto knows hata saa hizi, hata economy ifanya vibaya aje, he has the Rift Valley vote guaranteed. Raila anajuaga hata afanye nini, he has the Luo vote guaranteed. The Gachagua saizi anajua basically ile side ameenda, Gachagua akina Dede Nyoro wanajua ile side wameenda, the people will follow them, not because of ideology but strictly because of tribe. Try imagine other countries don't have that bullshit. It's ideology. They might be behind us. Senegal is still behind us, but for how long? Acheki. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Senegal, and it was a beautiful thing to see. And let's wait for the 2027 elections. We're still going to take a whole week to count votes, which makes no sense because there are only 700 votes in every polling station. By saa sita usiku, we should know the results if the results are trustworthy. But of course, we are very untrustworthy people. Hii side inaiba, hii side ingine inaiba. Kuna IBC wako toothless, lazima wanaogopa the incumbency and all that bullshit. So it ends up being a whole week of tension. Hii kitu ni simple. Unaambia watu kuna 700 voters hapa, nipatie results. Polling stations inafungaga by 5, latest 6. Nipatie results by 12. By 12 tushajua results. By saa sita usiku tushajua preliminary results. alafu the next day we announce, alafu watu wanaenda kotini, wale wanaenda 2 weeks later tumemaliza hii story, tumeenda. Si ujinga tunafanyaga ile, we have to stay. But Kenya ile kitu ni bamba ni vile tunadharau hizi countries sana, inaitaga hubris, tunakuaga nayo kabisa ile, tunachukuaga hizi countries zingine za Africa, they have nothing on us, unajua like there's nothing, ni hubris, excessive pride or self confidence. So Kenya tunakuaga full of that, like we feel like these like African countries are not good enough, they know nothing, and wanaendelea kutupita. So congratulations to Senegal. Let's see, man. A young president, 44 years old. I hope he has new ideas. They need to build more, less religious institutions, more scientific institutions, more factories, more manufacturers, less importing. Let's see what happens there. And yeah, good things for Africa. IKONINI.